Ciao a tutti, benvenuti. Welcome to 500 useful phrases in Italian. If you remember, the last 100 phrases we have done were all about traveling. Today, we're going to focus on work. So we're going to talk about the most useful and common phrases that you might need when working with someone that is Italian or in an Italian environment. Okay, so without further hesitation, let's get started with this new lesson. The first sentence is one of the most useful one, and it's pretty useful when you're having your first day of work in a new place. So for example, you need to say, "Hello, nice to meet you." So as you might notice, you have several options. The first option I'm gonna read is the more friendly one. Okay, it's how you should say hi, nice to meet you when talking to someone that you're familiar with or maybe a colleague that is younger than you. And in that case, you would say, "Ciao, piacere di conoscerti." If you are talking, for example, to your boss, if you're talking to someone that is older than you, if you're talking to someone and you just want to be polite, you should use the more formal way to say this sentence. And that would be, "Buongiorno, piacere di conoscerla." So if you remember, I had already mentioned that in Italian, when talking to someone that we respect, someone that is in a higher position than us, etc., we actually talk to them using the subject pronoun she. That's a very formal way to talk to someone, but it's very common as well. So I'm going to show you for different phrases also the options that you might use when talking in a more formal way. So, the second sentence is I work here. Lavoro qui. Here is qui. Okay? I remind you that in Italian, while talking, we do not use subjects. I mean, you can always use them, it wouldn't be a mistake, but it's just not that common. This is my office. Questo è il mio ufficio. Questo è il mio ufficio. Please always repeat these sentences after me in order to exercise your pronunciation. This is questo. Okay? To manage the project. Gestire il progetto. Gestire il progetto. To attend a meeting. Partecipare ad una riunione. Meeting is riunione. To answer the phone. Rispondere al telefono. Rispondere al telefono. To direct the meeting. To direct the meeting, dirigere la riunione. We have already seen meeting, that is riunione. To write letters, scrivere delle lettere. That literally means scrivere delle lettere, so to write some letters. To do paperwork, one of our beloved activities while working, fare dei documenti. Fare dei documenti. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. So here, the sentence I'm going to propose you is a formal one. È un piacere conoscerla finalmente. È un piacere, it's a pleasure, conoscerla, to meet you, finalmente, finally. I'm honored to be here. È un onore essere qui. That is literally, it's an honor to be here. The meeting will start at. La riunione comincia alle. So the meeting, la riunione, will start, comincia. In this case, in Italian, we would use the present, the simple present, alle, and then you just tell the time, okay? Alle 5, at 5 o'clock. I'm looking forward to working together. Non vedo l'ora di lavorare insieme. Non vedo l'ora di lavorare insieme. That literally means I can't wait to work together. I would like to meet with you tomorrow. Mi piacerebbe che ci incontrassimo domani. Mi piacerebbe che ci incontrassimo domani. Tomorrow is domani, ok? Can you give me your business card? Mi può dare il suo bigliettino da visita? Mi può dare il suo bigliettino da visita? Business card is bigliettino da visita. Okay? Great. Then let's move to greetings. Okay, they're pretty important as well in a working environment. Good morning. Buongiorno. Buongiorno. Good afternoon. Buon pomeriggio. Buon pomeriggio. Good evening. Buonasera. Buonasera. Awesome. Let me introduce myself. So here, I'm going to propose you two options, but it's not that one is formal, the other one is friendly. It's just that one refers to a situation where you're going to introduce yourself to one person. The second option refers to the introduction to several people. So for example, if you want to say this sentence to just one person, you're gonna say lascia che mi presenti. Lascia che mi presenti. If you're telling this sentence to several people, then you would use the second option. Lasciate che mi presenti. Okay? Then, I speak a little Italian. Parlo poco italiano. Parlo poco italiano. Shall we start? Iniziamo? Iniziamo? I can't connect. Non riesco a connettermi. That's a very common sentence. Non riesco a connettermi. He or she is having problems connecting to the meeting. Ha problemi a connettersi alla riunione. Ha problemi a connettersi alla riunione. As you might have noticed, we don't use the shall subjects, so it doesn't really change much, like according to the subject in this case, because the verb still is the same. So if you want, for example, to really highlight that it's a woman that is having problems, you just say lei ha problemi a connettersi alla riunione. Okay? But if you're writing this sentence, never forget to put the H in front of the A for the verb to have. Ha. Okay? Let me think about it, please. Lascia che ci pensi. Lascia che ci pensi. I don't understand that. Can you repeat it? Non ho capito. Puoi ripetere? Here we have the two options. So we have the formal one and the friendly one. The formal one is può ripetere. So the verb ends with an O and an accent. If you're using the more familiar, friendly way to ask this question, then you would say puoi ripetere? Okay? And then I don't understand that. Non ho capito. That's a very important sentence. He, she has experience in that. Ha esperienza in merito. Ha esperienza, experience in merito. Thank you for your interest in our company. Grazie per il suo interesse nella nostra azienda. So here, I've written two options, but just because, as we have seen before, maybe you're talking to one person or maybe you're talking to several people. In the first case, then you would use suo. You're talking to one person. If you're talking to several people, then you would say grazie per il vostro interesse nella nostra azienda. Okay? Then, how will our product be used? Come sarà usato il nostro prodotto? How is come. How should we manage the payments? Come dovremmo gestire i pagamenti? Payments, pagamenti. And manage, we have already seen this verb before, gestire. I'm on it, ci penso io. That's very common. Ci penso io. How is your family? Here, once again, we have the two options, so the formal one and the friendly one. Let's start with the more formal way to ask this question. Come sta la sua famiglia? If we're talking in a more friendly way, then we would say, come sta la tua famiglia? Ok? Family, famiglia. Tech support, supporto tecnico. To draw up a contract, redigere un contratto. Redigere un contratto. Great. I work in public relations. Lavoro nelle pubbliche relazioni. That's pretty similar to the English language. Lavoro nelle pubbliche relazioni. I work in commerce. Lavoro nel commercio. I work in accounting. Lavoro nella contabilità, with an accent at the end. I work in banking. Lavoro in banca. Banca is literally bank. I work in consulting. Lavoro nella consulenza. Consulenza, consulting. I work in exporting. Lavoro nelle esportazioni. Esportazioni, exporting. And then I work in importing. Lavoro nelle importazioni. Ok? Esportazioni, importazioni. Then I work in marketing. That's easy. Lavoro nel marketing. With whom am I speaking? Con chi parlo? Con chi parlo? Or maybe we have the opposite situation. Who's speaking? Chi parla? Chi parla? Hold the line, please. Resti in linea, per favore. Resti in linea, per favore. Please, as we have seen in the previous lesson, is per favore. Can you call back later? Può richiamare più tardi? Può richiamare, call back, più tardi, later? I will call back. Richiamerò io. Richiamerò io. He or she cut off. Ha chiuso la chiamata. Ha chiuso la chiamata. That literally means he or she closed the call. I can't get through. Non riesco a comunicare. Non riesco a comunicare. He or she is coming. Sta arrivando. Sta arrivando. Would you like to leave a message? Vuole lasciare un messaggio? Vuole lasciare un messaggio? This is the answering machine. Questa è la segreteria telefonica. Segreteria telefonica is answering machine. Please leave a message after the tone. That's a long sentence in Italian, I know. Per favore, lasciate un messaggio dopo il segnale acustico. And that is seriously like the standard sentence you will have. Per favore, lasciate un messaggio dopo il segnale acustico. Dear sir, caro signor, and then you write the name. Okay? So, signor, it's sir, but normally, for example, in letters or in emails, you just write the short version. So, sig with a full stop. Caro, signor, I don't know, Mario. Ok? Caro signor Paolo. Dear sirs. So if you're writing to several people, then you actually do the same. You just have to put the sentence in a plural form. Cari, signori. The short version of signori is S-I and double G with a full stop. And then, as I pointed out before, you just need to write the names. Dear madam, cara signora. The short version for signora is S-I-G full stop R-A. And then, of course, you need to write the name of the madam. Yours faithfully is in fede. In fede. But actually, this expression in Italian is not really common. Most of the times you will find we will use actually regards. Regards in Italian is cordiali saluti. And that's how you close an email, okay? Cordiali saluti. We acknowledge receipt of. Confermiamo la ricezione di. Confermiamo la ricezione di. Then, with reference to, in riferimento a. In riferimento a. With regard to your letter from August 5th, in merito alla sua lettera del 5 agosto, in merito, with regard to your letter, alla sua lettera from August the 5th del 5 agosto. With regard to our phone conversation, in merito, with regard, alla nostra conversazione telefonica. To our phone conversation. In merito alla nostra conversazione telefonica. Please find enclosed. In allegato trova. That literally means you will find attached. In allegato trova. We have to call a meeting. Dobbiamo convocare una riunione. Dobbiamo convocare una riunione. They scheduled the appointment for tomorrow. Hanno fissato l'appuntamento per domani. Appointment is appuntamento. He or she confirmed his or her attendance. Ha confermato la sua presenza. And this sentence is always the same, either if you're talking about a man or a woman, okay? In a way, in this case, Italian is easier than English. Attendance is presenza. Could you reserve the conference room? Può prenotare la sala conferenze? Può prenotare la sala conferenze? Don't worry, everything is settled. Here, once again, we have the two options. So the more friendly one and the formal one. So if you're talking to someone that you're familiar with, then you're gonna say, non preoccuparti, è tutto organizzato. If you're being formal, then you will say, non si preoccupi, è tutto organizzato. Okay? I would like to present the project. Mi piacerebbe presentare il progetto. Mi piacerebbe presentare il progetto. You have the floor. Once again, we have the friendly option, that is, la parola è tua, and the formal option, la parola è sua. This sentence literally means the word is yours. I don't share your opinion. Once again, friendly alternative. Non condivido la tua opinione. Formal alternative. Non condivido la sua opinione. It was a small misunderstanding. È stato un piccolo malinteso. Malinteso is misunderstanding. The last meeting contains lots of great ideas. Nell'ultima riunione sono emerse molte ottime idee. Nell'ultima riunione, in the last meeting actually in Italian, sono emerse molte ottime idee. They're keeping the strategy in mind. Tengono in mente la strategia. Tengono in mente la strategia. Quando firmiamo il contratto? When do we sign the contract? When is quando. To sign, firmare. Dear colleagues, cari colleghi. Cari colleghi. When you see G and H, the sound is always G, okay? Don't hesitate to contact me. Non esitate a contattarmi. Non esitate a contattarmi. I look forward to your response. Once again, friendly option, in attesa della tua risposta. Formal alternative, in attesa della sua risposta. Okay? Kind regards. You can actually say cordiali saluti, as we have seen before, but you can also say cordialmente. Okay? We are a little bit old-fashioned when we're closing emails. Could you resend me that email? Può rinviarmi quella mail? Può rinviarmi quella mail? Resend, rinviarmi. Email is mail, but you can actually say also email. Everyone will understand. I'll copy you in. Once again, friendly way, ti metto in copia. Formal alternative, la metto in copia. Accounts payable, conti da pagare, conti da pagare. Or, depending to your activity, it could also be conto fornitori, if there are some people that are providing you with some material and you need to pay them. Cash flow, liquidità. Liquidità, with an accent at the end. I need help, please. Ho bisogno di aiuto, per favore. Ho bisogno, I need. Aiuto is help, and we already know please, that is per favore. Send an email. To send an email, actually, mandare una mail. But you can also say mandare una email. No problem. Can you speak more slowly? Può parlare più lentamente? And this is more formal, okay? Può parlare più lentamente? If you want to ask this question in a more friendly way, you just need to conjugate differently the verb. So, puoi parlare più lentamente? We actually talked more in depth about the grammar and the conjugation in the corresponding course of Italian for Beginners. We accept your terms with the following adjustments. Once again, here we have two options, but as we have already seen before, one refers to the situation where you're talking or you're writing to one person. The second one refers to a situation where you're talking or writing to several people. So let's see the first option. So, the case that you're talking to one person. Accettiamo le sue condizioni con le seguenti modifiche. Long sentence, I know. If you're writing or talking to several people, then you would say accettiamo le vostre condizioni con le seguenti modifiche. Ok? Demand is linked to supply. La domanda è vincolata all'offerta. La domanda, demand, è vincolata, is linked to supply, all'offerta. What's your job? Di cosa ti occupi? And this is actually in a friendly way, okay? Because normally you wouldn't ask this question to someone that you're not familiar with. Di cosa ti occupi? Do you want to get a coffee? Here? once again, we have the friendly option and the formal one. So, talking about the friendly alternative, do you want to get a coffee? In Italian is ti va un caffè? Ti va un caffè? Formal option, le va un caffè? Le va un caffè? And that is very common. I have an offer for a lower price. Ho un'offerta ad un prezzo più basso. Ho un'offerta ad un prezzo più basso. Lower is più basso. Price is prezzo. Are you authorized to sign this contract today? È autorizzato a firmare questo contratto oggi? And this is a formal question because normally you're not very familiar to the person to whom you're asking this question. È autorizzato a firmare questo contratto oggi? I have to write the contract. Devo scrivere il contratto. Write, to write, is scrivere. Ok? Have to, devo. I have to read the contract. Devo leggere il contratto. So here we have to write, scrivere, and here we have to read, leggere. My Italian is bad. Il mio italiano è pessimo. But even if you think so, do not ever feel ashamed in talking in Italian because that's a huge effort and everyone will appreciate it and is gonna help you with the language. Il mio italiano è pessimo. Everyone makes mistakes while talking in a different language, so don't worry too much about it. What's your name? So here is the formal question. Come si chiama? Come si chiama? I'm sorry. Mi dispiace. Mi dispiace. Pardon me. Mi scusi. Mi scusi. Where are you from? Formal option. Da dove viene? Da dove viene? And finally, I'm going to sign the contract. Vado a firmare il contratto. Vado a firmare il contratto. Great! Awesome! Complimenti! Congratulations! You have just finished our second group of 100 sentences in Italian. So I'm really hoping that this sentence will be useful in your job, and I really hope that you're proud of your progress so far. So have a great day and thank you for being with me. I'm looking forward to the next lesson. Ciao! A presto!